Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog and video format. Today we're here to discuss unsafe places and why characters go there. It was another panel from World Fantasy Con. The panelists were Isabeau Wyke, Nina Hoffman, Verzan Kanma, Joe Haldeman, and Susie Charnas. Now, I expected this panel to be about the journey trope. Stories following those who chose to stand up and go, not the ones who are reasonable and stay at home. But the panel itself ended up being more of a discussion on how to use unsafe places to propel the story forward. So, before you can use an unsafe place to propel the story, first we have to discuss what is an unsafe place. Well, just because a place is unsafe for one person doesn't mean it's unsafe for everyone. And vice versa. Just because a place is safe for you doesn't mean that everyone is going to be safe there. Places can be unsafe due to the environment or because of the people in the place. And sometimes home is the unsafe place. And it can be unsafe because of external factors or because of internal ones. According to Charnas, when fate is against you, no place is safe. Dun, dun, dun. And old age is a very, very unsafe place. So now that we've explored what unsafe places are, although maybe not so much examples, but just look at a story and look for the unsafeness, what makes the character not able to stay. And you can find dozens of examples. So how do you find that conflict that initiates your story? When you begin a story, you should make clear what is missing in the main character's life, or at least what they think is missing. Often, the strongest stories are about the true thing that is hidden. In those cases, the missing thing identified at the beginning of the story is simply a symptom, not the cause of the conflict. Now, it's okay if you don't know what the true cause is when you start writing your story. Writing can be a search process, a way of finding your way out of the dark. Warning, if you go into your story with an agenda, stories often come out rather contrived, like an after-school special. Strive to avoid that. Sometimes the unsafe thing didn't exist prior to the story's beginning. That can be that the entire world changed and became unsafe for your character. You've got post-apocalyptic, laws changing, or some life-changing event occurring for your character that changes who they are and how they fit into the world around them. So when the conflict is internal, it can be a mental health issue or an uncontrolled ability like magic, or lack of control over their own rage, or a yearning to belong. All these things, eat inside us and make us who we are. They make us human. And so internal conflict is a really good way of making your characters relatable, which is that so hard, nebulous thing that you find in rejection letters. I just didn't relate to the character. Well, internal conflict, a lot of them can be really, we're all human. If you appeal to the basic hierarchy of needs, we all want to be wanted, we all want to be safe, and we all want to be loved. So those are the main internal conflicts. So now when the character doesn't see it coming, you end up with betrayal, and that's when the hidden thing attacks the main character. They think they're safe, but they're not. This is where I'm going to pause and give a shout out to YA. The joy of writing young adult novels is that kids or teens can and will defeat problems long after the adults have resigned themselves to a world where the problems are insurmountable. That's just the way of the world. You can't do anything about it. And then you have the teens and the kids stand up and fight against it because they still have hope, and hope is what makes young adult novels so appealing. So now that you've used your unsafe place, you've propelled your character into action, what happens next? Well, if you need to enhance conflict, you can always limit resources, be it allies, money, magic, or time. All of these things can put a lot of pressure on the story and help drive up the tension and draw those readers in. And once your main characters address that first conflict to fix the thing that was making them unsafe, they usually find something else that they need to do. Some new issue that's arisen, often as a consequence of that first thing they fixed. And that's it. That's all the time the panel had to discuss unsafe places. Defining, exploring, and exploiting unsafe places to drive a plot forward. Now, if you've written a story, what was the factor that made your character unsafe? If you're not a writer, share a factor that made a space unsafe for one of your favorite characters. Share it in the comments below. As always, feel free to subscribe and tune in next week for more writing tips and writerly musings. See you then.